Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Forza Horizon 6 kind of review. I don't know. Sean had been playing it for a while. Of course, we got him the code because he's very nice about it, very polite, asked now and then, no threats or anything like that. And we had the review code sent over from Microsoft, so shout out to them for providing it and gave Sean, I think, plenty of time to drive around in Japan and get to know the game. So I wanted to bring him in here so we could talk about it. Sean, how's it going over there?
It's going good. I've been playing a lot of Forza Horizon 6. I really haven't been playing much of anything else because it is quite an experience, I think, and I'm looking forward to talking about it today.
Yeah, so you've been playing this for at least a few days now. I'm trying to think of when you got the code. Maybe less than a week ago, or no, was it like a week ago?
Yeah, I think my play time's around 15-ish hours or so.
Okay, good stuff. Yeah, I was gonna see how long you've been playing it. 15 hours is pretty good for that. So the entire experience though now in Japan, people very excited to say you were losing your mind when you finally got to go to Japan for Forza Horizon. That's where people have been asking for. Gosh, at least the last two iterations, I think people have been hoping that was the reveal for like 4 and 5, but here it is with 6. So you jump in. What was your initial impression as soon as you turned the thing on?
You have the whole thing where it kind of does that little, it's almost like a little preview for the game as a whole, where they have you do like, okay, you start out on tarmac and then you're doing snow and then you're doing dirt, kind of like the big pomp and circumstance, and then you're just kind of thrown into the game and you start to understand how this is going to work and how the wristband system works and all the extra things that are attached to it. Because I wouldn't say that this is Forza Horizon 5 with just a different skin. I would say that they've definitely changed and added in quite a lot of things that, some of them I haven't even had the chance to experience yet. Like that's how much stuff is in this game. And like it's kind of crazy to think about because I've been enjoying it so much, but like even like the multiplayer aspect, it's very, if I can use the word of a great video game reviewer, it's very robust. And like I still haven't been able to do much with that because there hasn't been a lot of people playing the game online. So I'm really looking forward to like when you guys get the game and other people either get the premium edition or pick up the game, because then I think the game is going to be like even more enjoyable, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, I was actually more excited about the idea of starting with like a low end car. I feel like whenever I play the last few Forza Horizons, you get a supercar so fast in the game. It's almost like your second or third car because you get a wheel spin. It's like here's some insane Lamborghini. But even like watching your footage here, it's a lot of like cars you could even find, let's say back in the day on Craigslist or something used. You maybe got to fix it up, but it's a few $1,000s back in the day.
Well,
Whereas instead, it's like here's all the supercars.
they actually kind of focus in on that with like even events that are more so based on older cars. Like you can only use a certain type of car in this. There's really, as far as like the single player progression is concerned, there's two different types of progression that is constantly happening. There's one type where you're doing your normal Forza stuff, trying to you get your score higher. So because the game is based on wristbands, and different color wristbands give you different objectives that are unlocked on the map. So you're constantly doing your standard stuff, do this event, go through this, speed trap and stuff like that, kind of the standard stuff. But then there's like the Explore Japan side of things, which has you doing things that like you never did in a Forza Horizon game before, like delivering food or doing like a tour of Japan when you're like in a old like 70s car or something like that, like an old 70s Nissan. And I really feel like that's kind of the cool aspect of this game, because if you noticed in my footage, I didn't really record anything like the crazy stuff. Like it still has like the crazy dirt tracks and you're making a massive jump through the air. It has snow tracks when you're in the mountains of Japan and you're doing stuff like that. But as far as like, if you wanted to play this game more just like a street racing game, like you can, and you're actually rewarded for that as well, which was extremely satisfying for me playing this game, because that's more so what I was interested with this game was kind of that, you know, Japanese street racing sort of stuff, because, you know, there's been so many games based on stuff like that, and I wanted to see Forza's Horizon's take on that sort of thing. And I mean, you have, you know, standard nighttime street races where there's some traffic that you have to contend with and stuff like that. You have the car meets, which once again, once that's like online and stuff, like you literally just pull up, you pull into a parking space, and then you stand next to your car. You can hit the right trigger to rev your engine and stuff like that. You could look at other cars that are there and potentially buy those cars. You could go and like pull out in the parking lot and do like a little donut when you leave and stuff like that. Like it definitely, it almost feels like multiple games and multiple game types in one, which I really enjoyed from it.
Dude, I'm seeing the interiors of these cars. You switched to first person a few times here too, just to show it off. The interiors of the cars they're really well done, but man, there's some serious nostalgia to like the I'm looking at the cluster gauge of, I think it's this Acura. Like that
the Integra.
That dimly lit like orange almost for the dash. That is some old school stuff. I mean, just in general, the details on the cars are, I mean, they've been there for a while with car games. I know people are like, how much better can the visuals get? I think it's more how much more detailed and authentic can, say, an interior of a car get if you want to switch to that angle. And man, some of the shots of these look pretty impressive.
And you know, it's very accurate. And I think one of the cool things about this game is it definitely has a lot more older Japanese cars, you know, like your hatchback Civics and stuff like that. Some of the Japan only Nissans that we never got stateside, or maybe were redone and rebadged for a stateside thing. I will say I'm a little Toyota and Lexus seem to be a little bit underrepresented in this game, which if you know anything about Toyota, you know, maybe that makes sense. And there are some classic like Toyotas in there, but the fact that there wasn't like a Toyota Altezza, which was the first generation Lexus IS that came stateside, I thought that was kind of weird, because that's definitely a staple of Japanese culture. You know, the Altezza taillights, you know, were such a big deal back in the day, with that, you know, the clear taillight with the red and like the chrome accents and stuff. So I don't know if maybe that's a barn find, but that's another thing. You know, in the previous Forza games, you had stuff like barn finds and stuff like that. You have that in this game, but there's also treasure cars in this game, which they essentially, when you drive through a specific region, they'll show you a picture of where the car is, and you kind of have to drive around in this area and match it up to like, okay, well, this building kind of looks like that building and stuff. So there's like new things in terms of that to do, which I found to be very enjoyable.
How is Japan anyway? Just the setting, driving around in it.
It's awesome, dude. Like I was a big fan of Horizon 5, but I was not a big fan of the setting, because I just felt like it was too much dirt. And then like you would go from like, you know, a small dirt based road village to like a lush jungle, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me. But you get a lot of different biomes. The city itself is very large, and you know, there's stuff to see. There's like attractions, like some of the things when you're doing the Explore Japan stuff, like find this certain building, go to this certain area and stuff like that. So yeah, like they do a very good job of opening up the map as well, because when you're leveling up and getting these different wristbands, when you get a new wristband, you'll often get events in a region that you haven't been to before, or a part of the map you haven't been to before. So now you have a reason to go explore that area. You can always go explore it, but you know, now you have sort of that incentive to, and stuff like that. And there's also, I did not get any footage of this because I just didn't care about it, but they have like the estate thing where like you build houses up and stuff, and you could customize it and your houses get worth money. I could see people kind of getting into that aspect of it, but for me, it just really didn't do anything for me. So I didn't really focus on that. But I guess it's cool that it is there, and it's not necessarily like you have to do this. You have to build up your houses. You have to build up your estates. It's like, no, if you want to, it's there. But if you don't want to, it's fine as well.
I should have mentioned earlier, you were playing on the Xbox Series X and you're playing in performance mode because there's also a fidelity mode.
There is a fidelity mode, and I will be 100% honest with you. I never touched it.
That should be at 30 frames. I understand if you want at least the 60 frames per second on a racing game like this.
Exactly. I mean, just for me personally, and as someone who's played their entire experience with it, I mean, the game still looks phenomenal. You know, weather effects. One thing I also want to kind of point out is the AI feels much more dynamic than it has in previous Forza Horizon games, especially when you're racing, because I have had a couple experiences where like everything is going fine, but like the AI will make a mistake and they'll take out like other cars and stuff, or they'll take a turn too haphazardly and then I'm able to blow by them. And it honestly feels a lot more dynamic instead of just, I wouldn't say it's on like the level of like GT7 and like Sophie and stuff like that, but it definitely feels a lot more dynamic and a more like, you know, there is that inherent chance of something could go wrong. So, you know, if you're in fourth place and you're on the final lap, like stick with it because they can mess up ahead of you and then you could blow by them and get in first place.
Just crash into each other here. Now I saw you at the end of the footage with the delivery vehicle. There was this Raku Express.
Yeah, like little things like that are just, it's very interesting how you have kind of different types of gameplay with it, to where it's like food delivery. It's like, what? You know, but you know, a tour of Japan where you're in like a classic Japanese car or something like that, driving with other vehicles and stuff.
I need to ask for the people out there, the culture from the old days, the PS2 generation, Xbox generation. Did you see a Skyline in here?
Oh yeah, there's lots of Skylines.
Okay, that was like the car back in the day, and like Need for Speed Underground 2, the last car to unlock was the old Skyline, and I have to imagine it's in this. It has to be in here. It'd be weird if it wasn't.
Very, very good Nissan representation. One of the first cars you can choose is a Silvia. So, I mean, you know, an older Silvia. So they did very good. And look, to be fair, I'm not a JDM guy. I'm more of a Euro guy, specifically Germany. But, you know, I still have a large appreciation. Like I always loved, you know, Integras and older, you know, 90s Japanese cars and stuff like that from, you know, other games within the genre that, you know, we grew up playing, the Gran Turismos, the Tokyo Extreme Racers. So they do a very good job with stuff like that. And there's also another thing that they added is when you're driving around, you can actually find like pre-modified cars that are for sale, and they're cheaper than if you bought the car yourself, but they have some modifications done. It could be something like just wheels or maybe an exhaust on it or something, and it'll like tell you what it is. And like that's kind of fun too, because you know you're finding these cars that maybe you wouldn't have taken a look at, and usually the car is near an event that it can be specifically tied to. So if you want to use that car in that event, you can do that. So another nice little touch of something that's been added into this game.
You buy for some teenager who threw like a massive muffler and some headers on it or something.
No, hopefully not a fart trumpet on a Nissan.
No, I saw some of the cars you had listed here, and I like this old RX-7. Yeah, there's a Lancer Evo in there. Oh yeah, I know those cool. It's fun to have the big supercars. I don't know, something about having those timeless cars, those old school ones. That's what is so interesting to me anyway. What's so intriguing about this in Japan is having access to kind of that lineup and in that setting.
And you know, when you do the Explore Japan stuff, like it tells you history. It tells you about the cars, why the car is a classic car, what makes it unique and stuff like that. And a lot of times it's based on older stuff. So very, very cool. And the crazy thing is, like, as much as I've been playing it, like, I really still feel like I'm scratching the surface with this game, because I think the social component is going to be absolutely massive with this game. When you're doing car meets or squatting up, you can have up to 12 people, I believe it is, ride together and, you know, go do stuff and ride through Japan and stuff. Like, I'm really excited to be able to experience that soon too.
So I knew coming into this you were pretty high on the game. I mean, it's Forza Horizon. It's in Japan. It seems like they're hitting this pretty well right out of the gate. But what is there anything that stuck out to you that you were like, okay, maybe Forza Horizon 7 they should do this?
Honestly, not really. Like
Yeah.
this game to me is like a masterpiece because what it does, it's almost like a Metal Gear Solid 3 situation because you're taking core principles from previous games and then refining them, adding in new things with it as well. I almost feel like, where do you go from here to have that same sort of impact? Like, I don't know that there's a specific area where you still have that big of an impact with Japan. And obviously this is a game that's going to be expanding, you know, they're adding in stuff. You're still in the springtime events and stuff like that. So there's going to be so much more added into this game. It's like, you know, where do you go from here? What do you do for the next game? So I think that's very interesting, but this is by far, you know, I'm putting it right up there with Resident Evil 9 as like one of the best experiences of 2026. And, you know, people will say, oh, it's a racing game. And like, yeah, sure. But it's an arcadey with sim elements to it racing game that's beautiful, fun, with a ton of content. You're never bored. There's so many different disciplines and types of racing: toge racing, street racing, drag racing, dirt racing, snow racing. Like, if you enjoy cars, like, this is a no-brainer.
I guess at this point they'd have to start revisiting regions that they've already done, and I guess they could go back to the US. I mean, I think the original one was in the US, but
yeah,
that's it, right? They'd have to circle back around at this point to some previous places.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he could do something maybe like, I don't know, I hate to say it, but LA or New York City. I think New York City would be interesting, and that because you have that dense city, and then you have like upstate New York and stuff like that, where you could kind of do the dirt and the snow elements and stuff like that. I think that would be neat, but it's going to be very challenging for them because I feel like they have just absolutely nailed it across the board with this game, even down to the little details where when you're drifting a car, your hands go hand over hand when you're in a first person perspective instead of just being stagnant like they've been in other Forza Horizon games. Like, when you drift, your hands are going hand over hand like you're actually drifting when you're in that first person perspective. So just little details like that definitely stuck out to me.
So it's a recommendation from RGT85.
Highly recommended.
Okay, there you go. Sean has more coverage on his channel as well. Maybe even some more footage. Check it out there. Maybe. You never know. The game is out actually starting tomorrow on the 15th with the premium edition. It then releases on the 19th for the standard edition. It'll be on this Xbox Series, the PC, so over the next couple of days. The PlayStation 5 version launches towards the end of this year. I'm thinking they'll get it out for the holiday season. And something tells me it'll probably do really well on the PlayStation 5 based on how Forza Horizon 5 sold.
So I think it'll outdo it.
Yeah, the future looks pretty bright here for Forza Horizon, specifically with 6. So check it out. Full recommendation, it seems, from over here. And I'll be checking it out when it releases. I think next week when it drops normally. So I guess we can race around online or open some kind of a club, or what do they call it in there?
Well, yeah, you got the group racing where you can link up with other people and then just do all the stuff, like play the game with that. You can also link up with people. Like, if you find a car, you can ask if they want to link up and stuff like that, like someone driving around the map. So,
all right, that'll be fun. Cool. All right, thanks, Sean, for joining me, for giving us a bit of an explanation on Forza Horizon 6, and look forward to checking it out here in a couple of days. And we will see you guys next time.